So Inside Out is done. We're in court now. Captain has joined me a lot to discuss this morning. Captain, good morning.
Good morning, Lily.
How's Arsenal doing?
Arsenal is doing well. We are still in Dubai. We are still camping in Dubai. Hopefully by Thursday, Friday, we'll be back in London. And we have a trip to Leicester on Saturday. Yeah, okay. Lunchtime. Okay. 12:45. In fact, we will kickstart. In fact, there's a Valentine's Day action. I think it's involving Chelsea, on which we know the outcome already. And they're United in the mix. But we'll deal with them later.
Anyway, all right, we're in court.
Yes, Lily, we are in court. And also in respect of court-related issues. Yesterday, at the presidency, we saw a lot of action, especially with regards to oral. Yes.
Manasseh says they are called Okal.
I read a very long article from him. Yes. And he's a good writer.
He is.
He speaks
his mind. Can't take that away
and
from
all
him.
Of that. And I'm sure that when he makes that clear, everybody that is involved, you need to find your place and then do the needful. I'm sure it's in relation to the mass withdrawal of some political cases and all of that. But of course, the law is what the law. And if you follow the kind of things that they were saying, the NDC was saying in opposition, it would not surprise you at all. But something that there should be some reasons assigned to some of these things so that people will be clear in their mind and all.
So it is not as though we criticized former President Akufo-Addo for being a clearing agent, and then there's a new sheriff who has also become a clearer.
In the eyes of the law, you understand what is happening. It is not a good, in fact, a news at all. It is not something that is new to what is happening. But the manner in which it is happening, they feel that, at least for anything at all, give us reasons. We know the issue about Oliver Barker and then the 53 others in relation to the
democracy.
Absolutely. That one in the minds of everybody, it is clear. We also know about Dr. Stephen Punikuku board and all of that. But in relation to others, they felt that give us reasons why. But the OG, yesterday we talked about the powers given to the Attorney General to initiate action and to terminate action, at what stage and what is expected to happen. But we are growing. Things ought to be looked at in a certain way. And of course, I'm happy that there's a constitutional review committee that will have to review some of portions of the constitution and all of that. So those things will come to the fore. Just as I'm talking to you about the oral. So yesterday they presented a whole lot document. Over 200 plus. What do you call it? Information that they said they had to the president. The president in turn handed it over to the Attorney General in the matter. So that's how come we are talking about that particular issue here and all of that. So let's hear from the president, John Dramani Mahama, what he has to do, what he has to say about that particular report that he received from Samuel Okudzeto Black West Committee and the task that he has given to the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine.
To those who think they can defraud the state and escape justice, let this serve as a strong warning. Ghana is no longer a safe haven for corruption. To those who stand for integrity, accountability, and the rule of law, I assure you that this government remains your steadfast partner in building a nation where honesty and hard work are rewarded. As we receive this report, let me assure the Ghanaian people that the work does not end here. The recommendations of the report will be carefully studied, and where legal action and investigations are warranted, they will be pursued without fear or favor. Every peso recovered will be channeled back into national development, and mechanisms will be strengthened to prevent such losses in the future. I have promptly handed over the report to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and I give him firm instructions to commence immediate investigations into the cases reported in here with a view to prosecuting anyone found liable for corruption or related offenses.
Okay, so that is the President, John Dramani Mahama, tasking the Attorney General to review, to investigate the matter, and then those found culpable are prosecuted in the whole of that. But there's one person who's also involved in this particular oral team, the committee, that's a private legal practitioner.
Martin Pebu, right?
Pebu, yes, and he's been very vocal in all of that. He's been
before being a member of the oral, I mean, he's been very vocal. He's very critical of government appointees, especially in the SWAL administration.
Yes, he did. And in fact, with the respect of the kind of withdrawals that are coming, is one person who's also calling for explanation of a sort why some cases are being dropped, why null prosecution are being filed and order. And as a legal practitioner, he knows that these things are not unusual, though, but at some point in time, Ghanaians will need to know what is happening. He has also been speaking because he's a member of the oral committee, and he's been giving us something, the expectation of the document that has been handed over for further investigation and possible prosecution.
The reports were handed over to him, so he promised to do what? Look into them. So the ones that he finds meritorious, he will do full-blown investigations, and then from there, once he gets more evidence to back up or proper evidence to back up, then he's going to court. So that is good. So my expectation is that the Attorney General will work on the files, on the reports we've given, and then from there, investigations, and then prosecution, so that we hold those who have looted this country accountable.
Can we do that in record time?
Well,
because President Mahama has 4 years.
Yeah, you have a point that yes, for some of the cases, naturally, because our justice system, the due process embedded in our justice system is such that sometimes it allows cases to travel years. Yeah, so the Attorney General is looking at judicial reforms. So one of the ways to go about it is that they will set up specialized courts, so that judge will be relieved of all other cases. So his cases are, let's say, maybe 10 oral cases. Another judge has 10 oral cases. So that's his job. So there is something to say daily hearings. You see, in the last administration, some of the cases, Judge Kweson's case, and the judge started doing daily hearings. Namwan's case, at a point we heard they were doing daily hearings. That's the cases to be heard every day. There's a third case where that one today did daily hearings. So daily hearings are known to us. That is what the Attorney General will be applying for, and hopefully the judges that will be in charge of the cases will agree, so that they will do daily hearings. And also, let's not forget that the cases that went to court, those people sweated 8 years. It was a lot of headache. So I'm sure now that they are back in government, they are wiser. So they'll be more careful, because for those who went to court 6.5 years, some 3 years, 2 years, and then some 7.5 are to forcing them go, all of them. I'm sure by now they've learned a lot of sense. So even though there's no conviction, but they've learned it practically, how to stay clear of certain decisions you want to approve. You watch your back, left, right, center, cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So we are wiser for it. It's moved us forward.
So that is the celebrated Martin Pebu. When you go to court, one thing about lawyer Martin Pebu is that when you go to court, and with respect to criminal matters, and when the issues of bail are concerned, it is Martin Pebu as Attorney General everywhere.
With his coolie high.
The reason is that we're trying hard to cool. So every court that you go in relation to criminal matter, Martin Pebu was the Attorney General number 2 in all of it, because that was the issue that he took to court in relation to the grant of bail and how the court should operate and all of that. So virtually every time when there are issues in relation to that, that particular case was cited. So his name is everywhere. So he's part of oral, and he's made that a point that the expectation is high, and I expect that actions will be taken. Some probably should be a daily hearing, because we are looking at John Dramani Mahama having only a term, that's 4 years. We know some of the cases travel beyond 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, and all of that. But he is making the point that some should not last long, others so short, mid, and then long term. Look at all those things in that totality and all of that. So that is in relation to oral. Now the Attorney General has the files. He will look at it, and then we'll know the next line of action. Yes.
Yesterday I saw a particular post from the wife of late JB Danquah to Ivy Howard Mills, and
yes,
I mean, she's calling our parliament.
What do you make of that post? I'm sure you've read it.
Yes, I did. I did. And I mean, as a woman, I felt her pain. But like they say, the wheels of justice grind slowly, right? What will be the role of Parliament in the delivery of justice?
Absolutely. So it's one of the things that we are looking at this morning. So have the directors will project that particular post on the screen, then we can go through without. But I read the post and I look like I have a challenge with the tone and the manner in which. So that is the post on your screen, and let me just go through and then over. So that was yesterday. And yesterday, this incident happened on the 16th, on the 20th, in fact, 2016, the February 8th, 2016. And today is February
11th.
So that's about 9 years into this. Yesterday, he posted, "Good morning, Parliament of Ghana. Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Aban S.K. Babwin. Then Majority Leader, Honorable Mahama Ayariga. Minority Leader, Alexander Kwamina Afenyo, Marking, and all honorable MPs. Respectfully, you have been silent." In June 2016, Joe Cox, British MP, was murdered in London. The House of Commons and the House of Lords were not silent. By November of the same year, John Cox's murderer had been found, tried, convicted, and sentenced, all in 5 months. It didn't bring her back, but it gave her family peace and closure. 9 years is a long time, but let it not be said that 10 years went by and Parliament looked on unperturbed. Please accept the assurance of my highest consideration. And they have the picture of the Speaker of Parliament and the late husband, or the late Member of Parliament, JB Danquah Edu. And this is a case that is still pending. Remember that last year, a 7-member jury panel returned a 4-3 verdict in favor of Sexy Dondon, Daniel Esiedu, Gucci Youngster, not guilty. And that means there's not a conclusive decision. So the case have to go for a retrial. Now, I have an issue with this particular, the tone and the way the wife is making the whole thing look like Parliament is sitting. The wheels of justice grind slowly, we are told. But to prove your case as witnesses, prosecution will have to prove their case with witnesses, and witnesses that have substance.
Exactly.
Witnesses that have information. We were told countless times in court by some prosecution witness and even the investigator in the matter that when the incident happened, the wife of the late JB Danquah Edu was at home when the police officers were around, went to the room of JB Danquah, came out. He came out from her room, peeped at them, asked them what was happening, and the police said everything will be okay. All these things were made in open court. Prosecution called 8 witnesses to come and testify. Not for once did I followed that particular case religiously. Not for one day did I ever see the wife in court. Not even the day that they were about to return the verdict.
Oh, really?
Not for once. And she could be a very substantial, a witness of a substance
In this case,
to help the jury, to clear doubt in the minds of the jury. And the jury, once they have doubts about the kind of witness evidence that you lead, there's no way they will convict the accused person in it. And one of the reasons that Daniel Esiedu is still not convicted is because somebody like the wife of JB Danquah Edu, who were told was present at the scene, because was not in court to testify. Why did she not come to testify? Because she has information. We were told that the kids were at home. They didn't come to court to testify. The grandmother.
well, are they not minors?
If they are minors, that is why their story even become more of a reality than anything that you can come. And there's a way that when minors want to testify, they accommodate them in chambers, not in open court.
Okay.
And you know that when a child says something, 99.9% it is true.
It is the true
There's no way
reflection
a
of
child
affairs,
will lie.
yeah.
You tell my mother said I should tell you that she's not there because she cannot lie. She can't read in between the lines. And he felt that if this woman has been in court to testify in this matter, probably that case would have been closed and the justice would have been served. But all the same, the case is still in court. A retrial, it's on. but it hasn't started yet. Tomorrow, Sexy Dondon will be in court, and the lawyers will be moving a bail application for him pending retrial. So for almost 10 years on, the case is on, and then 9 years on, the wife has tweeted something or posted something asking Parliament to stand up because they've been very quiet for a very long time. But the point is that she also had a role to play, which I think that she didn't
failed
play.
To play that role.
Wow. So that is
that's an interesting point you make there. So that was in relation to the
JB Danquah
yes. murder.
Yes. Lily, I'm going to ask you a question. You know why we have the hierarchy of the courts? The district court, the circuit court, the high court, the court of appeal, then the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So when you go to the circuit court and you have a decision and it is not in your favor, you go to the high court. If it's a criminal matter, you go to the high court. If it's a civil matter, then you go straight to the court of appeal. Now, this young man, Richard Kluche, was convicted and sentenced for robbery. He was involved in a robbery action. He and a group, we alleged, robbed some ladies in a saloon, took away their cars, robbed them with guns and all of that. They were arrested. The trial went on, and then he and the others were found guilty. Sentenced. You know, the act says that if you are convicted for robbery, for let's say, so we can display the court visuals in there so that we can see. If you are convicted for robbery, and in the course of the act you use offensive weapons, guns, and other stuff, the minimum punishment is 15 years. When you are convicted and jailed, if you are being sentenced, you are tried. A minimum punishment is 15 years. So Richard Kluche was given 15 years as a minimum punishment by the lower court, by the circuit court. And he said that 15 years is too excessive. And so he wants the court to reduce it to the minimum punishment of 10, which include the fact that the action took place without use of offensive weapons. And guess what has happened? He came to court, argued his case to appeal against the 15 years custodial sentence. And when he came, guess what? He has attracted 3 additional years. 3 additional years to the 15. He said the 15 was too much. So he's coming for a reduction. And when he came, he was not lucky. So now he's going in for 18 years.
What were the circumstances that required 3 more additional
years? The circumstances were to the effect that the trial judge, the judge at the circuit court, when convicting him and sentencing him, considered the fact that he was a first-time offender and the fact that he's shown remorse. The court did not consider the fact that he used offensive weapons. He robbed the victims of their belongings, and those items have not been retrieved as we speak. And so for that matter, if the court is saying that, if the lower court is saying that we are only sentencing you based on the fact that you have showed remorse and the fact that you are a first-time offender, what happened to the items lost by the victims? What happened to the trauma that the accused or the convicts put the victims in? The court said all those things ought to be considered as a mitigation factor by way of the court making a decision. So the court, on its own wisdom, is saying that the trauma suffered by the victims, the items lost by the victims, should attract some additional years. And the court said it is adding 3 years to the 15 that he said he was not satisfied with, and for that matter he's challenging at the court of appeal. So he came to challenge 15 years custodial sentence, and now he's attracted 3 additional years, meaning instead of 15 he's going in for 18 years. So before you go to court, you have to think about, look at all the mathematics and all of that. About 90%.
Was it represented by a lawyer?
It was represented by a lawyer.
And the lawyer could not tease out all these instances to him.
That is where the issues are. So when you are counsel in the matter, you need to make all the information. You need to school your client on all the ramifications and all the consequences of the action that will be taken. And that is why you hear a lot of lawyers, when you ask them questions, they said, I want to take instructions from my client. And so upon the instructions of your client, and some lawyers will tell you, I know that we don't have a case with what you have. If you still want to proceed to go to court, you have to look for another lawyer, because he thinks that you don't have a case. And if you go to a case with that particular, if you go to court with that particular case, the chances are that you are going to suffer a defeat. So Richard Cruchet, he went to court for a reduction of 15 years custodial sentence for robbery, but he ended up getting 3 years extra. And so he's going in for 18 years indoor. So those of you out there, if you have an issue and you want to go to court, think about it. If you are given a punishment, look at the situation and think, like, can I deal with it? Because 15 is the minimum for robbery using offensive weapons. He said that is too harsh, and the judge said, "Your victims."
But what did he rob the victim of?
So, one, the ladies were in the salon to go and braid their hair and all of that. And then they robbed them of, one of them was driving. So they took away the vehicle, involved. They took away the vehicle, and still the vehicle has not been found. They took away their monies, their mobile phones, and other items that were on them.
So they went into a salon.
Yes.
To attack the ladies.
And then they
robbed them
absolutely
at gunpoint.
At gunpoint.
And then took a car.
Yes, they took away.
15 years,
so the mobile phones and other thing, he went and gave them to his girlfriend, and the girlfriend was using, they track it. I said, where did you get it from? I said, my husband.
When you receive gifts, interrogate them. Hey!
So it was during the track that they realized that, oh, my husband brought it to me. And they have, where is your husband? They have to arrest him. He said that, oh, he bought it. You know those who have been doing the swapping. So he swapped it at Medina. He added 400 cedis to the phone, and then they got him a new phone. So that cannot be a proceed of crime. But of course, when they tried, they noticed that some of the victims managed to identify their face. The matter went on parade. When they arrested them, they paraded them about 9. And he was the one that they fished out. Said, yes, you are the one. You are the one. You are the one. And then they picked him out from the 9. And so the court is saying that it will not be a coincidence that somebody will just see people lying and say that you are the one. But the one risky thing about parade and identification is that if you have the opportunity to avoid those scenes, people look alike. You can easily be a victim of a circumstance. And that will lead me tomorrow when we come. I'll share a similar story with you, where somebody also was sentenced for 45 years for robbery. He served 19 years, and it was found that it was wrongful conviction.
Wow.
He wasted 19 years.
Wasted years.
In prison. Tomorrow we'll tell you that.
I can't wait to hear that particular story. But let's look at some of the cases coming up.
Absolutely.
The Abesin Murder, I understand, comes up today in court.
Yes. So the Richard Appiah, the Abesin Murder case, for the last 2 sittings, where the court was expecting to have the trial began by way of prosecution calling their first witness. It didn't happen at the last court sitting. Today, before Justice Rubiaite, it is expected that this particular case will start. So Richard Appiah in all white there in the handcuff, one of the sittings being taken away from the premises of the court and all of that. So that's, as you can see. So today he'll be back in court, and then the court will know whether prosecution is ready. There has been an issue with the jurors, because they need to get all the jury panel ready. They need to get all the set, because they are the judges of fact who will be listening to whatever evidence will be adduced in court. And then the court, they will have to return a verdict. Their decision is what the court will base on to deliver its final judgment. Then, of course, the Benlord Abibiu's case, the incident that took place at Kaswa Millennium City, the soldier that was killed as a result of a land dispute and all of that. So Benlord Abibiu, a self-imposed self-styled chief at Kaswa Millennium City, is in court with another conspiracy to commit murder, and they have pleaded not guilty. But the other accused person has been granted bail, but Benlord Abibiu is still in lawful custody because the court has refused to grant him bail. He's filed a repeat bail application, and today before Justice Kizita Nako Akwashi, the court will hear him, and then will know whether his request will be granted honor. So on court today, this is what we have to serve you this morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Captain.
Lily.
So that's Captain Murtala Inusah with court today.